pharma CEO doing deals with Pfizer, the National Institute of Health, saying well said to George Soros for his op-ed talking about threats to open societies around the world. A man that claimed in an op-ed in 2022 that he thought that masks and social distancing did work to slow the spread. A man pitching governments on a COVID-19 database that his pharma company was trying to capitalize off of. And a man that allegedly wrote, "It was a dark day for democracy. The loser of the last election refused to concede the race, claimed the election was stolen, raised hundreds of millions of dollars from loyal supporters, and is considering running for executive office again." I'm referring, of course, to Donald Trump. How does this person become a frontrunner in the Republican Party, a MAGA and Turning Point USA darling?
So what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. So the DeSantis crew is definitely threatened by Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, before I get biased, because you guys know I do have a little bit of a bias, I will say that what I will say is everything that Anomaly is pointing out is definitely something that we need to talk about. I just know people's intentions, so sometimes it makes me a little annoyed with the source, but he is something that he is saying things that we do need to talk about. I think Anomaly does very good work. I always say that. I do think he does very good work, but it is the attitude that comes behind the work that I cannot stand. I'm sorry, I can't. You don't have to be virtuous, but it is this, well, you know what? Let me just give you a quick taste of what I'm talking about.
This is the guy that conservatives want to lead the party after 15 days to slow the spread, the extension of the lockdown. Turning Point USA says that their slogan is "Socialism sucks." I don't think there's been a single more costly socialist bill in modern history than the CARES Act, which printed trillions of dollars, led to the biggest redistribution of wealth in modern history. And somehow Turning Point USA doesn't seem to have much to talk about that. They book the father of the vaccine as the headliner and his new little pharma bro with absolutely no pushback. People are slobbering over them like they're the Beatles.
And so there you go. So right there, it is that attitude that irritates me. Listen, I get that Turning Point USA didn't allow him in one time. He went to their convention or something, and they didn't let him come in. And I think that is disgusting. I didn't like that CPAC did that with Nick. So I get that. But even saying like, oh, the conservatives want him to lead them. What? Nobody is expecting Vivek to even win the Republican nomination. Nobody's expecting him to win it. What conservative is waiting for Vivek to lead them? So I don't know what he's saying. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what he means. And I understand the questions about Vivek, but what's that point that you tried to make? And then to even go back again with Trump, it's always, Trump did the big CARES Act and everything. You guys already seen my stance on the whole pandemic situation with Donald Trump. And I'm going to link another video that I made about Anomaly when he half answered me on a comment that he constantly makes, but he won't debate me. And drop a comment below if you want to see a real debate between me and Anomaly. I need the next person who gets in front of Vivek to question him about all of this. It should be me, because I would question him in a very diplomatic manner, but not make it easy for him either. We should know what, you do give a good message. Is it that you just know how to express yourself so beautifully that it is, the message is good, but do you believe the message? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news. So apparently, before I could even get this video out to you guys, Vivek has actually already answered some of those questions. Why don't we go ahead and listen to what he had to say?
We're surging in the polls. The knives are coming out. The opposition research machines are churning. And you know what? That's a good thing, because I'm running to be your next president. I want to lead this country, and I better darn well be able to take some questions along the way. Stay skeptical. I would be too. Let me just address them transparently. Most popular questions we've gotten in order. First, what is my relationship with the World Economic Forum? Answer, none, other than being probably their biggest critic here in the United States. And then the reason people are asking me this, though, is because the World Economic Forum named me on a list of so-called young global leaders. They did it despite the fact that I turned down their award. They kept my name on that list despite the fact that I repeatedly asked them to take it off because I did not share their values. I'm an opponent of it. Well, when they refused to do it, you know what I did? I sued them because I believe in taking action. That's the World Economic Forum question. Next popular question we get is, what is my connection with George Soros? Answer, none, zero. Indirect, direct, zero connection with George Soros. Why are people asking this question? It's because back in 2010, by the way, long before George Soros had completely fallen off the deep end and gone into these progressive causes, funding these disastrous, toxic prosecutors who are soft on crime, who I've also railed against. Long before then, in 2010, I won a scholarship when I was 24, 25 years old, headed to law school, that was partly funded by not George Soros, but Paul Soros, who's a relative, a brother of George Soros, who made his money independently, who, by the way, is now dead, that funded hundreds of people. Hundreds of kids won that scholarship. I was one of them to go to graduate school at the age of 24, 25, back when I didn't have a lot of money to do it. And you know what? If I had turned down that scholarship back then, that would have been so foolish that anybody that foolish probably should have no place anywhere near the White House doing trade deals on behalf of this country.
That is actually a good point to be made. Let's listen to some more because I want to see if he really hits everything.
Next question I actually got last few days was about a statement that I had made about masks back in early 2020, in the early stages of the pandemic. And here, I'll admit it, my anti-government instincts got the better of me. Because I don't know if you all remember this, but back in March, April 2020, when I put that tweet out, which said that we should buy masks based on individual personal responsibility or whatever it was that I said, that was in response to the government, including Fauci and the head of the CDC, laughing at people for buying masks and telling people across this country that they shouldn't buy masks. I have inherently libertarian instincts. I'm skeptical of the government. I think the government mostly lies. And so when they were saying don't buy masks, I went the other way and said that, you know what, if the government's going to tell me not to protect myself, then maybe we should be protecting ourselves. Well, as the facts changed, so did my opinions on it. We quickly learned that masks don't work. The entire time I was against mask mandates and vaccine mandates. In fact, you can take a look at my clip with Tucker in late 2020, when I was one of the early people warning against rolling out the vaccine too quickly and the risks of doing it. But that's where I've been all along. So anyway, keep the questions coming. I think skepticism is good.
Okay, so obviously that's all he has to say there because it's about to stop, okay? I mean, that's good that he's saying keep the questions coming. I think skepticism is good. But the problem that I do have, I will say, not necessarily the problem is that he really didn't answer all the questions, but there's some questions I don't need answered. You know, I'm not this nitpicky type person. I'm really not. Shout out to DC Drano. I respect a lot of what DC Drano says. I do need him to stop right here, okay? So we're looking here at a tweet. I don't see a video clip here. This is from 2021, I guess. To state the obvious, we should aim to safely vaccinate everyone who's eligible. I'm proud that healthcare providers in my immediate and extended family have already safely received the vaccine. That is so sad to hear, Vivek. That really is. But I don't have a problem with what he said. Okay? Now, if this was around the time of the mandate, I would have a problem with that. I definitely would have a problem with that. But I need what I'll need is DC Drano to make that detail clear. Okay, DC Drano captions this and says Vivek made hundreds of millions of dollars from Big Pharma. Don't care. Here is his own tweet saying we should aim to safely vaccinate everyone. Don't care. Vivek wanted you vaccinated so he could get rich. I can't say that. Thousands died, millions injured. Hey, Vivek fans feel foolish yet. He didn't say we should mandate them in this tweet. He didn't say we should mandate them in this tweet. And to be honest, he didn't sound any different than most people out here. Most people aren't really ready to have the jab conversation. Good morning. I'm sorry you oppose saving the lives of children. While quite disturbing as a parent, I would possess a measurable level of gratitude for one of the treatments Vivek developed saved life. A 3-year-old son wanted there. So let's see what this video is, and then I'm going to cut this.
I trained as a scientist. I went to Harvard studying molecular biology. I've developed 5 medicines personally that are FDA-approved products, one for a rare genetic disease in kids. 100% of them die by the age of 3 if they're left untreated. One of the medicines I worked on, 70% of those kids now live lives of a more normal duration. Prostate cancer, you name it. I care about science. My wife is here. Corbin, you want to stand up? She's a throat surgeon. She does surgery on elderly people who can't swallow every day. We care about the scientific method. We're not going to be people who are anti-science, as they'll label us for saying this. Free speech is a precondition for science. It is a precondition for truth. It is a precondition for peace in this country. Because if you tell people they cannot speak, that is when they scream. You tell people they cannot scream, that is when they tear things down.